Hello friend. Come and let's embark on a journey full of knowledge and lessons. From the world of science to history, we will discuss various topics that will broaden our knowledge and satisfy our curiosity. So if you are ready to learn, let's just relax and enjoy. Come, let's start. Let's explore together and learn from our new discussion.
The human respiratory system. Take a deep breath. Did you ever stop to think about the complex system that makes that simple act possible? The human respiratory system is a marvel of biological engineering, working tirelessly to keep us alive. Join us as we explore the ins and outs of this vital system, from the air we breathe to the cellular exchange of gases that powers our very existence. What is the respiratory system? Your body's breathing machine. Have you ever stopped to think about how your body gets the oxygen it needs to function? The answer lies in the respiratory system, a complex network of organs and tissues working together to help you breathe. Let's dive into what the respiratory system is, how it works, and why it is so essential for life. What is respiratory system? The respiratory system is responsible for one critical task, gas exchange. This means, it brings oxygen into your body, and removes carbon dioxide, a waste product. This exchange is vital, because your cells need oxygen to function, and the buildup of carbon dioxide can be harmful. Your body needs oxygen to live. Breathing is a continuous cycle. An average person breathes 20,000 times a day. During inhalation, your body takes in oxygen, which is used in many body processes. During exhalation, your body expels carbon dioxide, a waste gas from certain body processes. Breathing is a body mechanism performed by your respiratory system. Key functions of the respiratory system. Oxygen intake. The primary function of the respiratory system is to draw oxygen from the air into the body. It allows the exchange of gases in the body. Specifically, it distributes oxygen to the different parts of the body. Carbon dioxide removal. It eliminates carbon dioxide from your body when you exhale. The respiratory system. A tour to its main parts. The respiratory system is a complex network of organs and tissues that work together to help you breathe. From the moment you inhale to the moment you exhale, air travels through a series of pathways, each playing a crucial role in delivering oxygen to your body and removing carbon dioxide. Let us take a closer look at the main parts of this vital system. Nose and nasal cavity. Pharynx, or the throat. Larynx, or the voice box. Trachea or windpipe. Bronchi, the right and the left lung. And the diaphragm. The respiratory system is more than just a pair of lungs, it is a coordinated teams of organs, each with a specific job to do. Let us break down the functions of each key component, so we can understand how they work together to keep you breathing. The nose. A deep dive into your nasal cavity. We often take in our noses for granted, but this remarkable organ is much more than just a facial feature. The nose, along with its internal chamber, the nasal cavity, is the entry point and first line of defense for your respiratory system. Let us explore the fascinating functions and intricate workings of this vital part of our body. The nose. More than just a sniffer. The nose is the outer part of the respiratory system. It is mostly made up of cartilage, which makes the nose flexible and strong. The nose is where air enters our respiratory system. Its shape is designed to direct airflow efficiently. The nose has two openings called nostrils, which lead to the nasal cavity. The nasal cavity, a climate-controlled gateway. Behind the nose lies the nasal cavity, a larger space responsible for preparing air for its journey to the lungs. The lining of the nasal cavity is moist because of mucus. Tiny hairs also line this cavity. The hair and mucus filter out the dust and dirt that come with the air you inhale. Filtering. The nasal cavity is lined with a mucous membrane, covered in tiny hair-like structures, called cilia. These cilia work like a conveyor belt, sweeping trapped particles and mucus towards the throat to be swallowed or expelled. Warming. The nasal cavity is rich in blood vessels, which warm the incoming air to body temperature. This prevents damage to the delicate tissues of the lungs. Humidifying. The mucous membrane also adds moisture to the air, preventing the lungs from drying out. The mouth and the oral cavity. The mouth can also serve as an alternate entry point for air. The oral cavity plays a minor role in respiration, but is essential for speech and swallowing. We normally breathe through our nose, and not through the mouth. But if the nasal passages are blocked, breathing through the mouth becomes essential. The importance of nasal breathing. While it is possible to breathe through your mouth, nasal breathing offers several advantages. Better filtration. The nose's filtering system is more effective than breathing through the mouth, which lacks these defenses. Improved air quality. Warming and humidifying the air in the nasal cavity makes it easier for the lungs to absorb oxygen. Nitric oxide production. The nasal cavity produces nitric oxide, a molecule that helps dilate blood vessels and improve oxygen uptake. The pharynx. More than just a throat. When you think of your throat, you probably just think of swallowing, or maybe a sore throat. But the pharynx, also known as the throat, is a vital structure with multiple functions beyond just swallowing. It is a crucial intersection in your body, playing a key role in both respiration and digestion. Let us explore the fascinating world of the pharynx. What is a pharynx? If you look at the mirror and open your mouth wide, you see the back of your mouth. This tube or throat cavity is called the pharynx. The pharynx is a muscular tube that connects the nasal cavity and mouth to the larynx and esophagus. It is about 5 inches long and located at the back of your throat. It is connected to both nose and mouth and acts as passageway for both air and food. This is why you can still breathe, even if your nose is blocked due to a cold. Structures called tonsils are found at the opening of the pharynx. They trap and destroy bacteria that enter the body via nose and mouth. The pharynx, a 3-part structure. The pharynx is divided into 3 main sections. Nasopharynx, located behind the nasal cavity, the uppermost part of the pharynx. It is primarily involved in respiration, allowing air to pass from the nasal cavity to the lower airways. Oropharynx, located behind the oral cavity, the middle section of the pharynx. It is a passageway for both air and food. The tonsils, which part of the immune system, are in the oropharynx. Laryngopharynx, located at the bottom of the pharynx, where the respiratory and digestive pathways diverge. Air passes from the laryngopharynx into the larynx, while food passes into the esophagus. The pharynx, a multifunctional marvel. The pharynx plays several essential roles in your body. Respiration. It serves as a pathway for air to travel from the nasal cavity to the larynx and then to the lungs. Digestion. It allows food to pass from the mouth to the esophagus. Swallowing. The muscles of the pharynx contract to help propel food and liquids down the esophagus. Speech. The pharynx helps to resonate sound produced by the vocal cords, contributing to your voice. Hearing. The eustachian tubes, which connect to the nasopharynx, help to equalize pressure in the ears, which is important for hearing. A look at the larynx. Unlocking the secrets of your voice box. The larynx, often called the voice box, is a fascinating organ located in your neck. While it is most famous for its role in producing sound, it also plays a vital part in breathing and swallowing. Let us dive into the anatomy and function of this essential structure. What is the larynx? When you touch your neck while you speak, you can feel some vibrations in your throat. This is because of the larynx, or the voice box. It is found at the lower end of the pharynx, and just above the trachea. When you talk, the vocal cords in the larynx vibrate, and sound is produced. A structure called epiglottis is found covering the larynx. When you breathe, the epiglottis is raised, and air flows into the larynx, and to the lungs. When you swallow, the epiglottis is pressed down the opening of the larynx to prevent food from entering. Choking happens when food accidentally goes into trachea. Anatomy of larynx. A framework for sound. The larynx is composed of several pieces of cartilage, including thyroid cartilage, the largest cartilage of the larynx, forming the Adam's apple. Cricoid cartilage, a ring-shaped cartilage located below the thyroid cartilage. Epiglottis. a leaf-shaped flap of cartilage that covers the opening of the larynx during swallowing to prevent food and liquids from entering the airway. Arytenoid cartilages, two small pyramid-shaped cartilages that attach to the vocal cords and help control their movement. The vocal cords, your personal sound system. The vocal cords are two bands of tissue that stretch across the inside of the larynx. When you speak or sing, air from the lungs passes over the vocal cords, causing them to vibrate. The pitch and loudness of your voice depends on the tension and vibration frequency of the vocal cords. The larynx, more than just a voice box. The larynx plays several important roles in the body. Voice production. The primary function of the larynx is to produce sound for speech, singing, and other vocalizations. Airway protection. The larynx acts as a valve to protect the trachea from food and liquids during swallowing. The epiglottis covers the opening of the larynx, preventing aspiration or the entry of foreign material into the lungs. Breathing. The larynx helps to regulate airflow into the lungs. During deep breathing, the vocal cords open wider to allow more air to pass through. Coughing. The larynx plays a role in the cough reflex, helping to expel irritants and mucus from the airway. The trachea, your body's windpipe, and why it is so important. Ever wonder how the air you breathe makes its way to your lungs? The answer lies in the trachea, also known as the windpipe. This vital tube is a key component of your respiratory system, ensuring a clear and open airway for air to travel in and out of your lungs. Let us take a closer look at the structure and function of this often overlooked organ. What is trachea? The trachea, or windpipe, is a cylindrical tube that extends from the larynx in the neck to the bronchi in the chest cavity. It is approximately 4 to 5 inches long and about an inch in diameter. Structure of the trachea. Keeping the airway open. The trachea is made up of a series of C-shaped rings of cartilage. These rings provide support and prevent the trachea from collapsing, ensuring that the airway always remains open. The open part of the C faces the back of the trachea and is connected by a band of smooth muscle and connective tissue. This allows the esophagus, which runs behind the trachea, to expand when you swallow food. The trachea is lined with a mucous membrane that contains with tiny hair-like projections called cilia. The cilia beat in an upward direction, sweeping mucus and trapped particles away from the lungs and towards the throat, where they can be swallowed or expelled. Functions of the trachea. The airway highway. The primary function of the trachea is to transport air between the larynx and the lungs. When you inhale, air passes from the larynx through the trachea and into the bronchi, which then branch into smaller airways within the lungs. When you exhale, air travels in the opposite direction, from the lungs, through the trachea, and out through the larynx. The trachea also plays a role in protecting the lungs from foreign particles. The mucus lining traps dust, pollen, and other irritants, while the cilia work to remove these particles from the airway. Taking care of your trachea. While the trachea is a resilient structure, it can be affected by certain conditions, such as tracheitis, inflammation of the trachea, often caused by a viral or bacterial infection. Tracheal stenosis, narrowing of the trachea, which can be caused by injury, inflammation, or tumors. Tracheal cancer, a rare type of cancer that can be developed in the trachea. Branching out, exploring the bronchi and bronchioles. Deep within your lungs lies a complex network of airways that resemble the branches of a tree. These airways, known as the bronchi and bronchioles, are essential for distributing air throughout the lungs, allowing for the vital exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Let us explore this intricate system and understand its crucial role in breathing. The bronchi, the main airways. The trachea, or windpipe, is divided into two main branches called the primary bronchi. Each bronchus enters one lung, the right bronchus into the right lung, and the left bronchus into the left lung. The bronchi are similar in structure to the trachea, with walls supported by rings of cartilage to prevent them to collapse. Once inside the lungs, the primary bronchi further divided into smaller branches called secondary bronchi, also known as lobar bronchi. Each secondary bronchus supplies air to a specific lobe of a lung, wherein the right lung has 3 lobes, and the left lung has 2. The secondary bronchi then divided into even smaller branches called tertiary bronchi, also known as segmental bronchi. Each tertiary bronchus supplies air to a specific segment of the lung. The bronchioles, the final airways. The tertiary bronchi continue to divide into smaller airways called bronchioles. Unlike the bronchi, bronchioles do not have cartilage rings in their walls. Instead, their walls are made up of smooth muscle, which allows them to constrict or dilate, regulating airflow to the alveoli or air sacs. The bronchioles eventually lead to tiny air sacs called the alveoli, where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. Function of the bronchi and bronchioles. Distributing air. The primary function of the bronchi and bronchioles is to distribute air throughout the lungs, ensuring that oxygen reaches the alveoli and carbon dioxide is removed. The branching structure of these airways increases the surface area available for gas exchange. The smooth muscle in the walls of the bronchioles allows them to regulate airflow to the alveoli. During exercise, for example, the bronchioles dilate to allow more air to reach the alveoli, providing the body with the extra oxygen it needs. Conditions affecting the bronchi and bronchioles. Several conditions can affect the bronchi and bronchioles, including bronchitis, inflammation of the bronchi, often caused by a viral or bacterial infection. Asthma, a chronic inflammatory disease that causes the bronchioles to constrict, making it difficult to breathe. Bronchiectasis, a condition in which the bronchi are permanently widened and damaged, leading to chronic infections. COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a group of lung diseases that block airflow to the lungs, including chronic bronchitis and emphysema. The lungs, the powerhouse of your respiratory system. When you think of breathing, you probably think of your lungs. These vital organs are the core of your respiratory system, responsible for the life-sustaining exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Let us take a deep breath and explore the amazing world of the lungs. What are the lungs? The lungs are a pair of spongy air-filled organs located in the chest cavity. They are protected by the rib cage and separated by the mediastinum, which contains the heart, major blood vessels, and other structures. Anatomy of the lungs. Designed for gas exchange. The lungs are divided into lobes. The right lung has 3 lobes: the superior lobe, middle lobe, and inferior lobe. While the left lung has 2 lobes: the superior lobe and inferior lobe. The difference in size is due to the heart taking up space on the left side of the chest. Each lobe is further divided into smaller sections called segments. Within the segments, the airways branch into smaller tubes called bronchioles, which eventually lead to tiny sacs called alveoli. The alveoli are the functional units of the lungs, where gas exchange takes place. There are millions of alveoli in each lung, providing a vast surface area for oxygen to pass into the bloodstream and carbon dioxide to pass out. The lungs are surrounded by a double-layered membrane, called the pleura. The pleura protects the lungs and allows them to move smoothly during breathing. Functions of the lungs. Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. The primary function of the lungs is to facilitate gas exchange between the air and the blood. When you inhale, air travels through the airways and into the alveoli. Oxygen in the air diffuses across the thin walls of the alveoli and into the surrounding capillaries or tiny blood vessels. At the same time, carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses into the alveoli to be exhaled. The lungs also play a role in filtering air. The airways contain mucus and cilia that trap and remove dust, pollen, and other particles from the air. Regulating blood pH. The lungs help to regulate the pH of the blood by removing carbon dioxide, which is acidic. Sound protection. Air passing through the vocal cords in the larynx, which is located above the trachea, is essential for speech. Keeping your lungs healthy. Several factors can affect lung health, including smoking. Smoking is the leading cause of lung cancer and COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Air pollution. Exposure to air pollution can irritate the lungs and increase the risk of respiratory infections. Infections. Respiratory infections, such as pneumonia and bronchitis, can damage the lungs. The diaphragm. More than just a breathing muscle. The diaphragm is a vital muscle with crucial roles in breathing and other bodily functions. Let us explore the diaphragm's anatomy, functions, and some interesting facts. What is the diaphragm? The diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle, located at the base of the chest cavity, separating the chest from the abdomen. It is the primary muscle responsible for breathing. The mechanics of breathing. The diaphragm facilitates respiration through contraction and relaxation. Inhalation. The diaphragm contracts and moves downward, increasing the volume of the thoracic cavity and drawing air into the lungs. Exhalation. The diaphragm relaxes and returns to its dome shape, decreasing the chest cavity volume and pushing air out of the lungs. Functions beyond breathing. Beyond its primary role in respiration, the diaphragm contributes to other bodily functions. It increases abdominal pressure to aid in actions like vomiting, urination, and defecation. It helps prevent acid reflux by preventing stomach acid from flowing back into the esophagus. It works with the pelvic floor to stabilize the core and spine. Maintaining diaphragm health. Several conditions can affect the diaphragm, including hernias and nerve damage. Techniques to strengthen the diaphragm include deep breathing exercises and specific stretches. The diaphragm's health is essential for overall well-being. How breathing works. A guide to the respiratory system. The respiratory system is a vital network of organs and tissues that enables breathing. It facilitates the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the body and the outside atmosphere. This process is essential for cellular energy production and overall survival. The basics of breathing. Inhalation. During inhalation, air enters the body, and the lungs expand. The diaphragm contracts and flattens, while intercostal muscles expand the rib cage. Exhalation. During exhalation, air exits the body, and the lungs contract. The diaphragm relaxes and returns to its dome shape, and intercostal muscles relax. Gas exchange. As the air enters the lungs, oxygen moves from the alveoli into the blood, and carbon dioxide moves from the blood into the alveoli. This process allows oxygen to be transported throughout the body, while removing waste gas. Oxygen travel. This flowchart simplifies a complex process that captures the essential steps involved in oxygen transport and gas exchange within the respiratory system. First, air enters through the nose or mouth. It passes through the pharynx and larynx. The trachea carries air down into the bronchi. Next, the bronchi divide into smaller bronchioles. These bronchioles lead to clusters of alveoli in the lungs. In the alveoli, oxygen diffuses into the bloodstream. Carbon dioxide diffuses out of the bloodstream into the alveoli. Lastly, the diaphragm relaxes, pushing air out of the lungs. Air exits through the trachea, larynx, and either the nose or mouth. And the cycle continues. The breath of life. Why your respiratory system is so important. Our respiratory system, often taken for granted, is vital for life. This complex network of organs and tissues enables us to breathe, taking in oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. This process is essential for cellular respiration, which provides energy for our bodies to function. Without a working respiratory system, our cells wouldn't get the oxygen they need, leading to organ failure. Beyond breathing. Additional vital functions. Besides gas exchange, the respiratory system performs several other crucial functions. Air conditioning. It warms and moistens the air we breathe, to protect our lungs from irritation and damage. Sound protection. It enables us to speak, sing, and communicate by passing air over our vocal cords in the larynx. pH balance. It helps regulate the body's acid-base balance by controlling carbon dioxide levels in the blood. Protection. It filters out harmful particles and pathogens from the air, preventing them from entering our lungs and causing infection. Sense of smell. It facilitates our sense of smell through olfactory receptors, located in the nasal cavity, allowing us to detect odors in our environment. Maintaining healthy respiratory system. Most of us have already experienced respiratory ailments. One can avoid respiratory ailments if the following are observed. Breathe clean and fresh air. Avoid places where air is heavily polluted. Avoid smoking or secondhand smoke. Stay away from people who are infected with respiratory ailments. Observe proper hygiene. Exercise regularly to keep the body strong and healthy. Eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. Maintain the cleanliness of your surroundings. Consult a doctor for any sign of respiratory ailment. Cover your nose and mouth when sneezing. Every breath is a gift of life. Let us be grateful for our respiratory system that tirelessly works to give us life. Through continued research and advancements in medicine, there is hope that we can further improve the health of our lungs and combat respiratory diseases. Our respiratory system is the foundation of our lives. Let's not forget to cherish every breath, every moment. By taking care of our respiratory system, we give ourselves a longer, healthier, and more meaningful life.
Until next time, thank you for watching.